Hello, hello, and good afternoon, Florida. How is everyone today? My name is Janessa Ponko, and I'm so excited for everyone to join this webinar. I hope you're all able to use your Uber Eats and enjoy your lunch while watching this. If you didn't get to use the code, it should be still good to use this afternoon. At the end of this presentation, I'll be following up with an email to provide the HRCI and shroom credits. If you have any questions today, I'll do my best to check the question box and get back to you as soon as possible, as these questions will be saved. If you want further information, feel free to respond to the email I'll be sending with the credits. We're also going to send a recording of the presentation you can share with your colleagues. Today, we're going to talk about Florida nonprofits and unemployment. Before I get started, I want to do a quick intro of myself. My name is Janessa Ponko, and I'm the Membership Development Representative here at 501c Services. I've been in sales since 2016, selling vendor booth space at a wedding fair for 3 years. I've set up meetings for tech startups during the pandemic, and I've started scheduling appointments with nonprofits here at 501c Services since July 2023. I'm very excited to be part of a company that's helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. Our company is located in San Jose, California, so we're in the heart of the Silicon Valley, and we're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. And thank you again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies and managing unemployment in your state. We're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some live examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and finally provide more information on our company 501c Services and how many of our Florida nonprofits. We have about 25 members that have benefited from our services. First of all, I wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and the New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. From 1930 to 1972, 501c organizations didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separated employees. Although this saved nonprofits money from paying these taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of having a safety net that for-profit companies provided. Fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits must pay into unemployment, but they were provided different options in how they paid so that the tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So throughout the US, you'll see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts, but today we're just going to cover information in Florida. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. For instance, if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. Most states, including Florida, run as a risk pool, so what you put in does not necessarily equate to what you get out. And we're seeing that a lot of nonprofits are putting more money into that pool than what they're actually getting out. These total tax liabilities by employers are often greater than the claims paid, with reserves used in times of the recession. The tax liability is calculated by multiplying the taxable wage base and your employer tax rate. So take a guess on what a single claim can cost in Florida. Feel free to put any guesses in the question box. So this total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. So The maximum amount a single person can claim in unemployment in Florida can cost $6,325. And just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. Those extended benefits you may have seen in the recession and extra COVID payments were covered by the federal government. So the maximum weekly benefit in Florida is $275. And when we multiply that number by 23 is how we get that $6,325 for the maximum of what a single person can claim in unemployment. The federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of 7,000 and there's no maximum. Florida is at the lowest taxable wage base at $7,000, which means that for the first $7,000 an employee earns, your organization is taxed on that. So the majority of employers in Florida pay their taxes in the first quarter, but you might see that taxes paid after the first quarter, maybe for seasonal employees, new hires, or employees making less than that $7,000. The minimum tax rate is 0.1% and the maximum tax rate is 5.4%. And those are both set by the state. There is a 0.1% education fund that is added to all tax rates unless you have that maximum rate at 5.4%. The last thing to know is the improper rate, which is almost at 42%. And this overpayment equates to almost $109 million in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment. This information that we get from the Department of Labor, you'll see that Florida is one of the many states that's greater than 13%, nearly close to 42%. This is important to know as we really encourage you to look over your claims and make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501, we help organizations monitor this, but if you're managing on your own, you really want to make sure that you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. So there are 3 different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier with a tax rate that's set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure, reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims, basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. So reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications that we look at for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501c3 nonprofit. So we also exclude religious institutions. We recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more because typically if your payroll is under $1 million, especially significantly less, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably minimal and you might not see such significant savings when opting out. However, there may be some scenarios where you could see potential savings. So we would be happy to look at your numbers, even if you're slightly less than 1 million. We also look at a positive audit of the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you pay in claims. We also want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption in funding in the next 24 months. So we recommend for you to stay with SUI if you know you have anything from layoffs, reduction of workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience. And you probably would want to wait until those claims decrease. What it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separated employees. No matter how your employees separated, they'll still go through the same process for EDD. The state will determine their benefit amount based on their base period pay. The only change is how the quarterly bill is calculated. Instead of the state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for the charges your organization incurs. We work with 1,500 nonprofits, 25 of them are in Florida. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying for SUI. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any concern of changes in the state tax, such as tax hikes that you can't control. You become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims and into the state pool. Because unemployment is managed by the federal government big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states. It's best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you're on the borderline, we can certainly talk, as sometimes there are circumstances where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. If you're smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce your risk. There are a couple different strategies for reimbursing. The first is to manage your own program. This can be risky with the highs and lows of unemployment, and you really need to make sure that you have budget for these claims and that your team is diligent with managing, auditing, protesting, and paying claims to reduce these risks and to prevent overpaying. Another option is to outsource, like using 501c services to help with the administrative work and managing the challenges that can come with unemployment claims. And we also have a trust where you can put money aside. And then the third option is to purchase insurance. At 501, we do offer insurance programs that are a little more expensive than the trust and offer different levels of protection. So I do want to talk about how SUI is calculated. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments that we've done in the past. The taxable wage base is customized by each state. In Florida, the taxable wage base is set at the federal minimum of $7,000. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $7,000 of each employee's annual pay. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. The tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. To calculate the contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base times the tax rate. So for Florida, it's $7,000 times between the 0.1 to 5.4%. And this amount means that if each employee makes over $7,000, a company is paying in between $7 to $378 per employee in unemployment. In this first example of a human services nonprofit we work with, the taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million, tax rate of 4.7%, estimated claims only $200 per year. And in this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims. So they were overpaying $45,000 a year. Think of what you could do with an extra $45,000. This next example, the taxable payroll is around $700,000, tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims is $5,900, estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000, so they overpaid around $18,000. Here is a sample of your Florida tax rate notice that gives us almost all the information we need to do a free cost analysis for your organization. It provides us with your last 3 years of claims by quarter. It also provides us with your taxable wages and your tax rate. And we can use this information to determine if you're currently overpaying for your SUI. A little bit more about our company, 501c Services. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, John Huckstad, and he was looking for ways to save money for his organization. So he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He created the first kind of grantor trust, the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust, that eventually became 501c Services, also 501c Agencies Trust. We started at about 25 members here in San Jose and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his employees, so we're now 100% employee owned. From our receptionist to the CEO, every member is committed to our company and serving our members. Our services are valued tremendously by our members, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And here are a few testimonials our members have shared, and you can also go back to these later as I'll send the slides after the presentation.
Our overall experience with 501 has been seamless. Whenever you outsource something that's so critical as a benefit to your employees and an obligation you have, you really want to hand it over to someone who's going to treat it as importantly as you do and do it as well as you do.
So that was a quick video of one of our testimonials. And like I said earlier, we work with over 25 Florida nonprofits. Here's a quick snapshot of a few nonprofits here in the state that are members. So the first way that we help nonprofits is through claims management. Our team will help you audit and protest claims. We have unlimited access to hearing reps. Our team has an 87% win rate with protesting. You'll have a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust. And all of your claims will come through an online portal where you'll be notified that a claim has been filed. You can go into the portal to respond to the questions. And if in any case you go on PTO and forget to delegate these tasks, it shouldn't be a problem. For when a claim is not responded to in several days, it gets escalated and handled. A big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see your organization overpay or get hit by those Florida error rates. So we can audit these charges for you or prevent you from paying for a claim when someone gets terminated. We want to make sure that you're managing these claims and have enough support to do so. Our HR services include 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small dedicated team that will answer any HR related questions. So if you have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with a person who can support you and manage any of your HR questions. Our HR services have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHRM certified. And there's also an online knowledge library with our HR services. With the $275 maximum weekly benefits here in Florida, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you're ever laying someone off, our reemployment tool lets you offer packages that range from online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a job faster, which in return can help save your organization more money. The protection is the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection, which helps our members during catastrophic claims. Other than the catastrophic claims, for managing the highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust account. This is a reserve account held in the trust, owned by your organization, where we help you manage those possible unexpected number of claims. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you wanted to look into potential savings, what I need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2023 to 2024 as a reimburser. If you're paying SUI, I would just need a copy of your 2024 tax rate notice. So I do have a few minutes for any questions. Otherwise, I'll sign off and start sending those follow-up emails with a copy of the slides and credits in the next few hours. Thank you so much again for watching this presentation, and also looking forward to speaking with some of you soon. Looks like there isn't any questions so far. So thank you again for joining this webinar. And if you have any more questions or want more further information, this is my contact information. Hope everyone has a great afternoon.